February lasts forever. I don't care if it's the shortest month. Shortest month. You can show me all the math in the world. I still don't believe it. This month is interminable. In fact, you want to know how bad February is? My mother cut this out for me. It's a freaking Garfield strip, of all things. Or it's practically the same panel. All that moves is his pupils. And it's Garfield looking haggard over a cup of coffee. He says, "I'm in a bad mood." And its name is February. Accurate. Oh, boy. Set that aside. Hi, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I'm trying to get all my stuff pulled together for my taxes. Never look forward to that. But hope folks are doing okay. And yes, congratulations to Jodie Whittaker on her pregnancy. Yes, I did hear about that. Let's end winter forever. Wait, we're already doing that. Oh, Diana, now you're making me sad. So I'm gonna try and be more upbeat. I know I've been kind of grouchy the last couple streams. I don't mean to be. Like, seriously, this is just not a great time of year for me. Hunter S. Thompson said February was always the coolest month. No basketball, no football. Those things wouldn't help. They wouldn't help me at any rate. Jeez. Star Wars indulgence on cameos and surprise appearances and the way people are just eating it up really starts to leave a bitter taste in my mouth. I'm not sure how much of the upcoming slate of Star Wars stuff I'm actually going to watch and review, because most of it's probably all going to be tied in to a similar degree to what is annoying me in Book of Boba Fett. I'll watch the Obi-Wan one and maybe the Cassian Andor one. Maybe. The rest of them, I feel like they want me to do homework, and I don't want to do homework. So, yeah. Yeah, Ben, that I don't care how grumpy you are beautiful, you are valued, you are loved. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Let's get down to the brass tacks. How do you feel about the Boba Fett show not having any books? Like, it barely has Boba Fett anymore. Like, at this point, it's just false advertising all the way down. What? You're just naming Muppet movies at me, for goodness sake. Excuse me. Reminder, while I do try and keep up with the chat, the only thing that guarantees a response is a super chat, which will also get you a heart from me. Well, that, and if you're on the Council of Geeks, why can't I talk? Council of Geeks Discord, there is also a channel there where you can ask a question, and I'll address those a little bit later. That's how Star Trek feels to me, so I just don't bother with it. Yeah, and like, here's the thing. While I do take in all the MCU stuff and like it, people are starting to say, like, they feel like it's too much, and I get it. I don't feel that way about the MCU, but I get it. Well, Cad Bane needed to be there. Did he, though? Did he really? I'm legitimately asking. I don't know who he is. I know nothing about him aside from that appearance. So, I don't know. Maybe he did. I wouldn't know. It doesn't feel like I'll be in front of 30 littles in a month. Woo! My goodness. That's... Hey, Vera, do you ever listen to the Alan Parsons Project? I don't believe I have. I know it existed. If I've ever heard an Alan Parsons Project song, I don't know what it is. If you watch the Clone Wars series, I didn't watch the Clone Wars series. That's my point. They're now adding things in to a brand new series that only means anything to people who watched a completely different series that wasn't even in the same format because it was animated. And yes, I know the continuity holds, but like I'm trying to not be grumpy, I swear. Does that mug say what you think it says? Yes, Bailey. Yes, it does. Well spotted. One of my best friends made a comic, and it's doing really well on Amazon. Well, that's great. KJ Zana, glad to hear that. Tried to watch Clone Wars and Bad Batch. I just couldn't bring myself to care. See, I never got into Clone Wars. Initially because I didn't really have a means to watch it while it was airing. And then later on, it's like too much of a backlog. I couldn't really bring myself to commit that much. Raspberries, you want some? Oh, open up. I did try Bad Batch. I think I did 3 episodes of Bad Batch. And I wasn't vibing with it. And that also kind of shut off the idea of me getting into Clone Wars. Because I'm like, if this is the vibe of Clone Wars, it's fine, but I don't love it. It's not multiple seasons worth to me, you know. I already said this on Twitter, but the major Oscar snub that made me want to punch a wall was Sparks not getting an original song, a nomination for Annette. I don't know Annette, so sorry. I have no opinion. Have you ever seen the movie Annihilation? Yes. Annihilation is a movie that I love, and it took me about a week after seeing it to make up my mind that I loved it. Because that movie took some work. You can say the same thing about New Who when they reference Classic Who, and then you have a choice. Either let the references fly over your head or watch the older stuff. I don't think that's equivocal. Here's why. Most of the time, when old stuff from the classic era shows up in modern era Doctor Who, they also explain what it is. It will mean more if you have watched the old stuff. But like, when the Daleks showed up in Series 1, they explained who the Daleks were. And it worked, even if all you knew was the Doctor had a history with them. That was covered in that episode. And that's been the general pattern. So if you're someone who needs to know all the specifics, then yes, maybe you feel like you're missing something. But if you're somebody like me who is equally happy to just have a sense of, oh, this is something from their past, and not necessarily needing to know all the specifics of their past, I think modern era Doctor Who does it in a way that is perfectly accessible for the most part. I will say that, like, there hasn't really been a new jumping on point where you could start watching modern day Doctor Who that you would not eventually have to go back to Series 1 and then watch through the rest of Modern Who, because it's self-referential within its own timeline quite a bit, and it does expect you to know all that. So like, say, when Jack Harkness showed up in Series 12, if you had started watching Doctor Who in Series 11, or even, oh god, heck, how long had it been since Jack showed up? If you had started watching in Series 5 with Matt Smith and had never gone back, and I'm not saying like this is a thing that people do, but theoretically, if you had started watching Doctor Who anywhere from Series 5 forward, then Captain Jack shows up. If you haven't gone back and watched that, you have no idea who he is, and that scene means nothing if you don't know who he is. And that's kind of the way that the Cad Bane scene played to me. I clearly was expected to know who this was, but I didn't. There are ways to bring in older things and revisit older things and reference older things, that doesn't make it feel like, for newer viewers, like I'm just missing something. There are ways to meet both needs. My nails are pretty, thank you. Oh, that one's chipped. Got to redo that one. Bad Batch is actually darker than Clone Wars? Okay. Have I ever watched a movie called The Breakfast Club? Not only have I watched The Breakfast Club, I was in a stage version of The Breakfast Club in college. Still need to see the Owl House. I'm told it's a little Gravity Falls. The Owl House is the Owl House is what you would get if Harry Potter was rebooted by the people who made Gravity Falls. That's the Owl House. Woo, Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club is, I think, probably along with maybe Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the John Hughes movie that has aged the best, or more appropriately, aged the least badly. Because some of his other stuff, whoo, boy. John Hughes was a talented guy, and like, I know his work was seminal for a lot of people, but oh boy. Theater, yes. Yeah, I had a lot of fun being in that too. God, I haven't been on stage in a play in ages. I mean, like last year I got to start doing burlesque again, but I haven't. God, when was the last time? Last time I was in a play was The Odd Couple. I was one of the poker players. That was 2017? I think. I don't know. It's been a while. Don't you forget about me. One of my favorite movies ever. It's a good movie. It's enjoyable. Have I seen She's Having a Baby? No, have not seen that one. Question, do the MCU suits seem overly designed to anyone else, or am I just weird? Depends on what you consider to be over-designed. Like, they're designed for film. I mean, clearly. So there's a lot going on often that, is only intended to be seen, these bits kind of catch the light in certain moments or whatnot. I mean, I'm not going to say you're wrong that they're over-designed. They're a little bit, but not in a way that I personally feel like. You want over-designed, Steppenwolf from either version of Justice League is over-designed. My favorite article of clothing? I don't know. What one's the most fun to take off? I'm told there's a theory and subtle suggestion that Eda from Owl House and Stan from Gravity Falls were married. I don't believe that. I believe there's a theory. I don't believe that that's a thing. Like, there are references. There are mixed references between Owl House, Amphibia, Gravity Falls. They reference each other. There was a Gargoyles reference in one of them. I think in Amphibia. Yeah, no, there's lots of intermingling, but it is just references. Have I ever reviewed Midnight Mass? I haven't seen Midnight Mass, so no, I have not reviewed it. Will I be reviewing Cobra Kai Season 4? I mean, I'd have to watch it, and after Season 3, I kind of don't wanna. Like, maybe, eventually. I'm not in any rush. My younger sibling came out as non-binary. I'm very worried about the school seminar. We had an expert on LGBTQ people. She was teaching us acceptance. She was also cis and straight. Well, and keep in mind, a cis straight person is not incapable of understanding or being able to educate on matters of queer identity and queer acceptance. Sometimes if that's the best you've got, you take what you can get. Best of luck to your sibling. Absolutely. Fingers crossed. It really does vary wildly from area to area. Some places, like, it's not an issue. Some places it is. New type JB Lee. Thank you very much for the super chat. How are you? Comic question. Thoughts on the Hobgoblin? Do you think he was almost as good as the Green Goblin or better in terms of villainy? Here's the problem. Here's why I can't answer that. Because you asked about a specific iteration of the Hobgoblin. And there have been too many. There have been like 4 Hobgoblins. And I don't know any of them that well. So, and I really don't know what Roderick Kingsley did in specific. Like, I know the original Hobgoblin was Ned Leeds. And then I don't know if Roderick was next. And then I know the Hobgoblin actually got possessed by a goblin, but then got split from that goblin, and that became the Demo Goblin. But there was also still a Hobgoblin. I don't know if that was still him or if that was somebody else. And then I think there was somebody else after that. Hobgoblin's convoluted. One of the more convoluted Spider-Man villains, if we're being honest. The only thing of note with She's Having a Baby is that John Hughes asked Kate Bush to write a song for it, and she gave us This Woman's Work, a song that gets me every time. Okay. Someone over at Fire and Water reviewed Midnight Mass. I want to say either Rob or Ryan. I could be wrong. I could see them actually double teaming on that. My gut feeling would be Rob, but I don't know. Favorite alcoholic beverage? Whatever's cheap. As long as it's not beer. She also told us gender fluid people are just questioning and are not real. Well, fuck. That's, oh, shit. That's a bad sign. All right. I'm sorry. I am sorry that the person who is educating in your area on LGBTQIA identities is flatly shutting some of them down because it shows an inherent misunderstanding of what people can be, just questioning and not real. Number 1, speaking as someone who has identified as gender fluid for going on 7 years now, pretty real, last I checked. And number 2, feel free to clip this and send this to her. Don't really. Well, go ahead if you want to. Number 2, to say that it's just questioning is to diminish anyone who's questioning and implying that that is less valid. Questioning is valid as hell. I think everybody should question their gender, regardless of whether or not you decide, no, I actually am cisgender. Everybody should question that. Question your assumptions. Figure out and be firm and solid and certain about where you are. And if you're not certain, take as much time as you want. You can be questioning for 50 years. You are valid. Hey. What do I think of the movie Heavy Metal? It's fun. It's not good, but it's fun. The anti-trans movement is very loud, so much stuff on YouTube, and I avoid all of it like the plague. Discovering I was gender fluid was when I stopped questioning my gender. I was in my 30s. There you go. There you go. John Vinyls, thank you kindly. Have I read the graphic novel The Girl from the Sea or played the game What Remains of Edith Finch? I recommend them both. yes and no, respectively. If you check out fireandwaterpodcast.com and look up the Tough Like a Girl podcast, Liz and I reviewed The Girl from the Sea. So, yes, I have read that. I have not played What Remains of Edith Finch. I like the soundtrack to Heavy Metal. What's funny about the soundtrack to Heavy Metal is that it was the reason that the movie was really hard to get for like 15 years. Because there were so many bands involved in that soundtrack that getting the music rights sorted to actually have a proper home release, it took them forever to sort that out. This is meant to be a funny question, but sorry if it gets serious. If you got canceled for something, what would it be? I'm not going to indulge that question. If I was in a more playful mood, I could give you a playful answer. Like, I'll get canceled because I'll say, well, maybe I'm already getting canceled for saying that the Mandalorian parts of Book of Boba Fett are the worst parts of Book of Boba Fett. I'm practically getting canceled for that. That would be my jokey response. An honest response, I'm going to pass on because there is enough that I regret about my own history and being almost 40 years old. I've got more than enough years of being a shit that are at this point well in my rear view. But if I was going to seriously get canceled, that's where my head goes. So, there you go. I think a better way to say it to me is the MCU suits seem less iconic, you know? I think that varies from suit to suit. I think what's very telling is that it's almost never the same suit one film to the next. They tweak them almost every time, so they don't really get the chance to be iconic. Like, aspects become iconic. Like, the shield becomes iconic. Just the look of the helmet on Iron Man becomes iconic, but the specifics aren't. What do I think of the latest Dune movie? I did a review when it came out. It was good. I didn't lose my mind over it the way seemingly every other reviewer on YouTube has done. It was fine. It was good even, but like, I don't think it was the most amazing thing ever. What makes me so wise? Nothing. I am no wiser inherently than anyone else. I do my best to impart what I understand as best as I understand it, with the caveat that I understand a very limited scope of things. I try and be aware and open about my own limitations. So I resist the idea of being called wise, because that gives me the idea that people would turn to me for knowledge and insight, which I don't feel qualified to give. Just because I know myself and I know my own faults. And when that is the case, it can be hard to take that view on yourself, which may be a good thing in some respects. Ms. Wiggle Wolf, can I bat my eyelashes? I can. I'm not going to, because I'm not your trained monkey. What do I think about the CGI Luke Skywalker being used more prominently in his own show, for example? No. That's a terrible idea. No, please don't do that. I already think they used him way, 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 Way more than they should have. So, I know that I know nothing. I don't think I know nothing, but I know I will never know everything, and neither will anyone else. Do I like Stevie Wonder? Yeah, he's all right. Early stuff I tend to favor. Well, without contradicting you, that is a very thoughtful answer. Good approach to things. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to think what's been going on lately. Well, tomorrow's the last episode of Book of Boba Fett. And I'm hoping it won't annoy me. What am I munching on? I'm munching on bits of raspberry. But then that'll be done. And I'll be done with stuff on Disney Plus for a little bit, actually. I think till next month. And then Peacemaker wraps up. So, yeah. That's what I've got coming down the pike. I'm going to try and get back into Final Fantasy VII Remake on Twitch again tomorrow. I might take a break. I want to get through the Don Corneo stuff, because I've been really excited to see how that's going to be reimagined. But after that, I might honestly take a break, because I'm not as engaged with it as I would like to be. How far have I gotten into Final Fantasy VII Remake? I have just started the Don Corneo subplot. Cast is all right. I mean, it's weird, because the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, they don't speak particularly differently from how they did in the original. It's just those lines worked much better to read them than to hear a human being say them. Can we talk about hardcore? Hardcore's great. Liz has started watching Peacemaker. She hasn't caught up yet, but hardcore's her favorite. Huge surprise. The bitchy blonde, her words, not mine, is her favorite character. What a shock. Laminia. I think that's an L. That's either a lowercase L or a capital I, so maybe it's Iamenia? Either way, thank you so much for the super chat and a very cool sticker. I dig it. John Vinyls, thank you as well. Got a favorite video game or genre of video games? I'm partial to Her Interactive's Nancy Drew games. I mean, my favorite video game of all time is probably going to stay Final Fantasy VI, just because you can't beat nostalgia. The game I've spent the most time playing is Hades, which is very good. And like, at this point, I'm just, in general, I'm retro in terms of my gaming preferences. I like something 2D. I like isometric. I like platformers. I like turn-based RPGs, even point-and-click adventure games. Like, I like games that are taking their cues from the 90s, basically. Mountain Harpy, member for 2 months. Yes, thank you very much. At the snazzy supporter level, much appreciated. I really hope Hardcore doesn't bang Peacemaker. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to. Like, they're starting to lean that way. I hope she doesn't. I try to do the same. I stress in a video where I bring up a psychology study that I wasn't trying to pretend that I know everything, just having fun applying stuff that interests me. Oh, Mountain Harpy. Ooh, I got some hearts straight back. Thank you so much. Very appreciated. It's been my favorite DCEU project so far. Depends. Am I allowed to limit it to single films, or do I have to pick a franchise? Because if I can say just the first Wonder Woman and don't have to take 1984 on board, then it's going to be just the first Wonder Woman, not taking 1984 on board. But I don't know. The DCEU has kind of topped out at, yeah, it was pretty good for me. Like, the Snyder Cut was way better than I thought it would be, but I don't ever need to watch it again. Aquaman was fun because it embraced its insanity. But it wasn't an amazing movie. It was just more fun than I thought it was going to be. First Wonder Woman was really good, except for the climax is a bit of a whiff, but more in execution than in theory. Have I ever checked out Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley? I think it would be a good fit for Tough Like a Girl. I think it's on the docket. I say that like you need to realize the docket is dozens of things long, and we've been doing this podcast for years already, and we only do one a month, so we go through stuff very, very quickly. And I mean, see, I know Brian Lee O'Malley is also the writer on Scott Pilgrim. What would I think of the actress that played Sylvie to play the 14th Doctor? I mean, they won't for one simple reason. She's also an attractive blonde woman. So simply for the sake of shaking things up visually, they won't. Now, that's not to say they shouldn't, because, you know, when they cast Matt Smith, it was a young, skinny guy with brown hair. What was David Tennant? A youngish, skinny guy with brown hair. But, like, that's going to be the approach. They're gonna treat it like an issue there, whereas they wouldn't with guy and haven't with dudes. But no, she could be good. Like, just in general. Carrion's a good game. I've heard Carrion is an interesting game. I've seen some of the gameplay. I've also heard it's a game where it's very easy to get lost, and I have a tendency to do that even in games that don't have a reputation for being easy to get lost in. So that is my hesitance on trying Carrion. I mean, maybe if it's on sale sometime, I'll pick it up cheap or something. I was planning to see Imagine Dragons in Milwaukee, but considering the state of the city as of late, that's out of the question. Ooh, assuming that it's in not great shape. I finally found Classic Who and started watching. It's definitely being watched in a non-pirated way. Yes, I'm sure it is, Cora. I don't pirate. I don't judge most people who do. Some people with the attitude they have about it, I do. But I don't do it. Less because I'm above it and more because it requires more technical savvy than I actually feel like putting in. I would rather pay the fee and just get it on a legit service. Tough Like a Girl isn't on my docket. Well, that can be adjusted. Did I ever consider making more good movie, bad ending? Weirdly, I found a lot of games, not films, that fit it. Coughs Far Cry 3. I mean, I've still got a list of possible movies to talk about that. The thing is, it was never a particularly successful series. I think the best chance of good movie, bad ending ever coming back is if I see a newer movie that fits that description, so that I can be topical, because like the various movies I've got jotted down as potential ones to talk about on that are old, and you know the algorithm would bury the video, and in some cases I've kind of addressed elsewhere, like Training Day was on my list, but I kind of addressed my issues with Training Day when I did my video on faux complexity with villains. So, any plans to tackle anime? No. I like anime just fine, don't get me wrong, but like, there are not enough hours in the day for me to get a steady anime diet in to my life. I only pirate shows I can't physically watch in my country, and that I definitely get behind. John Vinyls, once again, thank you. Not sure if I already asked you this, but how much did you know about Henry VIII and his 6 wives before listening to the musical Six? A bit. Not a ton, but a bit. Excuse me. So, like, I know more about them than I did because of that show, but I did know some things. I'd probably forgotten about as many things as I'd learned, honestly, but if aliens attack her, don't believe it. I mean, will they do anything worse to the Earth than what we're already doing? Just saying. This is why I prefer anime movies over series. I'll watch a thing for a couple of hours, but 17 seasons is a bit much. See, I feel that way, and also I find in general that anime series and shows are far more likely to dip into the aspects and trappings of anime that I don't like so much, whereas those things don't seep into the movies as often. In terms of some of the, like the movies often tend to be more restrained in a way that works better for me. There's the possibility that Last Night in Soho might be a movie you could do a good movie, bad ending about. I gotta find out. I gotta find out when that hits streaming or the cost of renting it goes down. I gotta check one of those. I want Joe Martin to be the 14th Doctor so bad. You and me both. Last Night in Soho streaming $6 rental. I'm gonna wait for that to come down. Wait to see what services it ends up on. Oh, hey, Adrenaline, glad you made it. They don't want to attack us, but we need a reason to weaponize space. Do we really need a reason? I assumed that was something that we're just going to end up doing. Because, you know, my biggest pet peeve, I don't know if it's my biggest, but the one that has historically come up the most often is if we meet and you introduce yourself to me and I introduce yourself to you and I say, "Hi, my name's Nathaniel," and you then proceed to call me by anything other than that, such as Nate, Nathan, Nat, or anything like that, we're going to have a problem. Because I told you how to address me. I said, "My name is Nathaniel," meaning that's what I want you to call me. Don't shorten my name. I have other names that I'll answer to, but not a shortening of that one. Missed you last Friday, but hope you're feeling much better. I am. Like last week was just not great in general. That's truth be told. Excuse me. Worst part isn't when we weaponize space, is when we put a subway there. $5 space foot long. Oy. Kyle Colgren did a terrific video on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen series that really goes into the problematic stuff that Moore puts in there. Yeah, I'm gonna at some point, hopefully this year, Liz and I are gonna tackle an Alan Moore book for Tough Like a Girl. We're gonna do Promethea, which I think, other than Lost Girls, which we're definitely not doing, might be the only Alan Moore book that fits the remit of that podcast, which is that it has to have a female protagonist. Capitalism in space, ugh. Allowing human beings to spread the plague that is their existence. Blech. Mad respect for the full name. Yeah, and like I don't even have like a story behind that or anything. I just like I never went by a nickname, so I just don't like it. Update on the mom versus anime situation. She's taking me to an anime convention in a couple of weeks. Hopefully she won't be too judgmental. Oh, that's good. Fingers crossed on that. Person of color should play the next Doctor. I would agree with that. Have I read any books by Christopher Moore? Huh? I haven't. I've missed like his last 4 or 5, but I have a whole mess of his books, including Lamb in hardcover. Trying to think. I've read Practical Demon Keeping, Coyote Blue, Bloodsucking Fiends, a Love Story, and its 2 sequels. I've read Fluke. I've read Lamb. I read Fool. Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove. Island of the Sequined Love Nun. I think that's all of his stuff that I've read. No, Stupidest Angel. So that's 11. I haven't. I started Blue, but I didn't finish it. So 11 and a half of his books. I like Christopher Moore a lot. I haven't read any of his stuff in a while, but I historically I have liked Christopher Moore quite a bit. Lamb especially. Lamb is special. So if folks if folks don't know the book Lamb, The Gospel According to Biff, Christ's Childhood Pal, by Christopher Moore. I love that book so much. What's great about it is that it's actually incredibly respectful of Jesus the figure in specific, but just takes the piss with pretty much everything else. It's really nicely done. Now, of course, like, not being a Christian, having never identified as a Christian, I'm not going to say that, like, there's nothing to be offended by. But as someone who is usually decent at recognizing the sorts of things where something really crosses the line and is disrespectful, I felt like his depiction of Jesus himself was incredibly respectful. It's just the whole thing is told through the lens of a character with almost no redeeming features at all, and it's great. It's so good. Have I listened to any of the Doctor Who audiobooks? I've listened to one. I have listened to Prisoner of the Daleks. That's the only one I've listened to. John Vinyls, once again, thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. What if Girl from the Sea ended with Morgan turning into a Selkie and going to live with Kelty beneath the sea for the rest of her life, eternity? I mean, for that to work, we would have the book would have to be changed in a way to express a desire on her part to do that. Specifically, we would have to know more about the situation she was getting into for that to work. If the book was simply presented the way as is, but that was the ending, I don't think it would work. It would need massaging on the content up to that point to make that work. Excited for the Batman. Not exceptionally. Here's the thing. The Batman might be good. It might even be great. But it is a version and a vision of Batman that I'm tired of. I remember when Batman stories were fun. And I'm very tired of them being dark and brutal all the time. And I'm not saying those can't still be good. I just kind of need a break. So, no, I'm not super excited. I know other people are, and that's another thing that, like, I'm getting hammered on. I'm getting hammered on for not liking the Mandalorian stuff, and I get hammered on for being skeptical about the Batman. Like, people downvote my skepticism about that movie so much. If I can recommend a review of Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I can talk. By Maximilian Dude. He's a huge FF7 fan and knows how much extra stuff that'll make a lot of stuff make sense. I mean, maybe when I take a break from it. Sounds like Dogma. Yeah, if you like Dogma, check out Lamb for sure. Did I see the new trailer for the Pixar movie Lightyear? I did. I was unimpressed by it. But then again, I'm usually unimpressed by Pixar trailers. That's actually the norm for me, so that kind of means nothing either way. Ah, nice pull, John. I like that. All I am is Jesus' brother Bob. Jesus' brother Bob. Jesus' brother Bob. But nobody a relative of the Son of God. If only I'd been born just a little sooner, I'd be more than the brother of God Jr. The Arrogant Worms. If you don't know them, look them up. Good to see you too, Cora. You take care. I think it's the case if you're a Christian who isn't offended by Life of Brian, you won't be offended by Lamb. Yeah, that's a good measure. Thank you, Captain Omni. Thank you very much. Do I think Jurassic Park dinosaurs still count as dinosaurs on a textbook level despite being confirmed genetic creations rather than clones? For the purposes of entertainment, yes. For the purposes of scientific classification, no. You like Soul and Luca? I did. I usually like Pixar movies, but like their trailers almost never do it for me. I actually like that you go against the commons, Ari, Boba Fett, and the Batman, because that means you care enough to be disappointed. Sure, that's one interpretation. I'll take it. Oh, Michael Anderson Doyle, thank you very much. All hail Queen Nathaniel. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, this is why I'm getting all my controversial takes out. Well, no one knows who I am. E.G. Moffat wrote the Daleks well, and the Time Meddler's overrated. Ooh, boy, yeah, you better get those out of your system before anyone starts watching. A new type JB Lee, thank you very much. Do you prefer 70s era Batman by O'Neill and Adams? I prefer the Batman the Animated Series Batman because it was dark and it had its edge, but it didn't forget to be fun. Like, it could tell dark stories, but not everything was dark. Oh, Jim Sens, thank you very much. Just because. Oh, thank you. Sorry, give me 1 second, folks. I will be right back. Okay, thank you for your patience. Are there any tropes everyone else is sick of but you still like? For me, it's zombies, ones that run and scream and are scary. There probably are some. I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head, though. You can only choose one: Labyrinth or the Never-Ending Story. Oh, Labyrinth, that's not even close. Conroy is the best Batman and the best Wayne. He is, but can I be slightly controversial on that? Only in that series. Because they have made a habit of bringing Conroy in to other Batman projects where he doesn't work because they are far darker than his Batman makes sense in, and his performance doesn't work. I love Kevin Conroy in the Batman animated series and its direct continuations and things linked to that continuity. But once they had him start doing things like Batman in the Killing Joke and Batman in the Arkham games, it doesn't work because these stories are far, far too dark for his iteration of Batman. They were built for a different Batman, but they used him. And it doesn't fully work. The degree to which it doesn't work varies. But I have to put that asterisk on Kevin Conroy. He is the best, but only in the show where his performance was tailored to the material. Because since then, no, not really. Captain Omni, again, thank you so very much. As a follow-up, do you think Michael Crichton just had a problem with theme parks, given two of his best-known works take the piss out of theme parks? Maybe. I didn't realize that. Yeah, you're right. Because that in Westworld. But yes. Okay. So I was asked what my favorite scary movie is. I don't know if it's my favorite, but the scariest movie is the 1970s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Gotta check the Discord. I will be right back. See what we've got here. It's at least the shortest month, but it contains one of the fake holidays I hate and is rather depressing to me due to how many people think it's about dating, etc. I assume you mean Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is one of those things that, like, I've always just kind of been like, oh yeah, right, that thing. This is kind of where I always land with that. If you haven't seen it, yeah, here, have an opinion on something you haven't seen. Learn to read. If you've seen it, thoughts on Superman and Lois. I haven't, so I have none. Over one season in, I still can't believe that the thing I was planning to rip to shreds since it was announced is actually great. I've heard good things about it. I have not gotten to it yet. Going to have to agree to disagree about Clone Wars and Bad Batch, but I can understand not wanting to commit to 5 seasons worth of lore. It's a testament to your even-handedness that I can do that and feel better about it than with anyone else. I appreciate that. That said, has there ever been a series or movies you swore you would never watch only to watch them and realize they were better or worse than you expected? Probably. I mean, it's probably not the best example, but off the top of my head, like I was dead certain that Wonder Woman was gonna suck. I was real sure about that. And it didn't. It was really good. Oh, Aaron, thank you so much, Aaron. Oh, just want to say cool earrings. Oh, thank you. I love these. I like these a lot. I've been wearing them a lot since I got them. John Vinyls, once again, thank you so much. Was just thinking about whether you could do Casino Royale for good movie, bad ending. See, the thing about Casino Royale, its ending isn't bad, but its ending is to another movie. But the thing about Casino Royale is it's already 3 different movies. So that's actually not a problem restricted to the ending. Because, you know, the entire thing right up until the plane explosion is something of a high-octane action movie. And then it's a slow burn espionage movie during the entire time it's at the casino. And then it's a tragic chase film for the last one. It's 3 different movies. So the disjointedness, which I do think is a problem, isn't restricted to the end, if you get what I mean. Captain Omni, once again, thank you very much. Batman, Brave and the Bold has the best Batman. Seriously, some episodes showed he can be dark, but still clearly loved fighting crime and the adventure. I caught a couple of episodes of that. It looked like a lot of fun. I didn't have the time to get more into it, but that was a fun one. I'm definitely glad that exists. I'll say that. I love the way you rolled your R when you said right back. Right back. Yep. It always throws me off, like, how many people can't do that. Like, my kid can't do that. Her mother can't do that. Liz can't do that. Oh, well. And that makes me sad, because that means they can't purr. Or coo like a dove. Do I like sitcoms? I'm picky. I'm picky about sitcoms. New type JB Lee. Thank you very much. How come you're not a fan of the nastiness of Ditko era Spidey? Isn't the harsh sense of alienation is what Peter's so unique from other Silver Age heroes? The issue is less that Peter himself has that. It's that, all right, how do I word this? It's not an inherent problem for your hero to have a bad outlook or a bad worldview. Where that becomes a problem is when the narrative seems to agree and feel that isn't a bad worldview and a bad outlook. Because it's honestly fundamentally the exact same problem that a lot of 90s comic books had. Now, in 90s, it was more pronounced and way more prevalent, because you had all these incredibly nasty pieces of work who were basically the hero just by authorial decree. Like, between these two warring factions of people with oversized guns and way too many pouches who always swear and are always grumpy and don't get along and kill anyone who opposes them, this one is the good guys. So, it was completely arbitrary, but you would have a ton of these heroes or things being billed as anti-heroes who weren't even really that. And, with this idea of, oh, but he's nasty and like kills people, like, but that's not interesting if the narrative agrees that with that character's outlook and frames that as a good thing. That's one of the things that a lot of writers get wrong about the Punisher. The Punisher, we should enjoy watching him work, but we shouldn't ever feel like he's right completely. And I think that's more my issue with Ditko era Spider-Man. It's less that Peter was nasty and bitter and isolationist. It's that the framing made it seem like they wanted the reader to feel he was right to think that. And that's what I have a problem with Ditko era Spider-Man. Rachel Loretto. A couple more of these, and then we got to wrap it up soon. Can't wait for your review in Another Life. Gal Gadot is in the book. Gal Gadot is in it. The book made me so disappointed. Find in Another Life. I don't know if I've heard of that. I'm not sure if I know what that is. While I'm checking that, Tara Staller, thank you very much. Did you see the movie Come True? And if so, what'd you think? I had it spoiled for me, and I want an opinion from someone it wasn't spoiled for. I am not familiar with that one. It does not ring a bell. So let me see here. Oh, Mountain Harpy, thank you. Ooh, pine trees, lovely. Meet Me in Another Life. No, I'm not familiar with that one. No, don't know what that is. Favorite anti-hero? Not sure I have one off the top of my head. Punisher can be justified, but he can never be right. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming at with that, Jack. Yeah, you said it more succinctly than I did. I'm bypassing your dad joke, Douglas. Thank you very much, John. Fun fact about Ditko, he was an objectivist. Oh, I know. I know. And if you read much of his work, especially his work after he left Marvel, you too will know. Even if you don't know exactly what that is, you'll feel it. Holy cow, will you feel it? Do I have to be listening to something while playing a game? Depends on the game. If it is something that like I'm not playing for the story, then yes, I might have a podcast or a YouTube video on or something. Hello from the UK. Have I watched Twin Peaks? No, I have not. Favorite non-Batman, the animated series related animated Batman movie. So stepping outside of that continuity, probably Gods and Monsters. I should watch that one again. That one's really good. One of my favorite actors is an objectivist. By all accounts, so Zack Snyder. But also by all accounts, Zack Snyder is a very cool person to work with and a nice human being, which is weird because Ayn Rand would hate that. So, you know. Whatever. He couldn't possibly be any worse than Dave Sim. Oh, God. Ooh. You want to talk about a guy whose issues bled into his work? Holy crap. Tracy Dale, thank you so much. Finally got to see Encanto, and I've had Surface Pressure stuck in my head for days. Pressure like a drip, 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 that'll never stop. Whoa. So I am going to wrap it up. Thank you everybody for joining me. This was kind of what I needed it to be. This was light and this was pleasant, and I feel like I didn't get too grouchy too many times. So I feel good about this one. Mountain Harpy, thoughts on the concept of the crossroads? I think you need to tell me what that is, because I'm not. The way you capitalize it makes me think it's like a book or a movie or something, but I don't know. I don't know what that is. Okay, pop on back there. Oh, I drank it all. Chow, I'm off to rest after my booster. Yes, rest, recover. And it didn't hit me too hard, though. Anyways, think about it. Answer me later. The concept of the crossroads. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into that. But for right now, oh yes, thank you, Carolyn. So yes, I'll be on Twitch tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and yeah. Join me there if you are free and able. And I hope you all take good care of yourselves. And please remember that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. McCavity!